Democrats are tossing unity out the window. Their new strategy, yelling at GOP voters. Last week, President Biden said MAGA Republicans are a threat to democracy.
I respect conservative Republicans. I don't respect these MAGA Republicans. The MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and economic security. They're a threat to our very democracy.
And I like his chop there. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, she tells her state's 5.4 million Republicans to move to Florida.
We're fighting to bring government back to the people and out of the hands of dictators. And we're here to say that the era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro, just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong. You don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers.
Wow. Is it a good political strategy to alienate half the country? Joining me now, Florida Republican Congressman and House Judiciary Committee member Greg Steube. Greg, Kathy Hochul, I mean, when I watch that video, I think I long for the warmth of Hillary Clinton.
Well, most of them are already here in Florida. If they're not, they're here part-time. So it's kind of interesting that she would encourage half of her state to leave.
Yeah, I mean, do you want them, Greg? I mean, we got our Republicans here. We're trying to conserve our Republicans in New York. And God bless you in your state, but I don't want all the right-wingers to leave New York. We have too few of them anyway.
Well, I tell you, the ones that are coming down here are the ones that love freedom, because I like to say that we have freedom here in Florida. And if you look at the voter registration, for the first time in the history of Florida, we have more registered Republicans than Democrats. So the people that are fleeing Democratically run cities and Democratic run states are actually conservatives that are trying to get away from those liberal policies. So we'll take them.
Well, Greg, I kind of like the way that guys like you and the Florida governor are kind of punching back at Democrats. But I think there's far too few Republicans who are doing that. When you have Republicans like Joe Biden, like Kathy Hochul, when you have Democrats attacking Republicans and calling them fascist, saying that they are either, mini fascists or, any kind of fascism. Why don't they swing back and demonstrate what has happened for the past 2 years? Who are the ones that were locking people in their homes and taking away their businesses and forcing them to get vaccinated? I mean, how can Democrats plausibly call people fascist after what they've been involved in for the past 2 years?
Well, I actually don't think that Joe Biden actually knows what the definition of fascism is. And if he does, he probably forgot what it means. But if he looked at a dictionary, it's actually what the Democrats are. One-party rule, a police state. The Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the White House. Look no further than Mar-a-Lago to look at the police state is live and well in America. So it actually is a lot more like the Democratic Party than it is the Republican Party. But Democrats, if they can't win on the facts and they can't win on the policy, they resort to name calling. Speaker Pelosi has called Republican members of Congress domestic terrorists. We get called racist all the time. So when they can't win on the facts or the policy, they just go to name calling, and that tends to be their mantra.
But I mean, really, I'm asking, is it time to start the name calling in the other direction? I feel like Republicans go and they say, no, we're not fascist. And they're playing, I mean, up here in New York, Lee Zeldin, he's playing polite with Kathy Hochul. I think it's time to go on the attack and actually talk about who the statists really are. I don't want to call them fascists. I want to say that they are the authoritarians.
Well, I'll just look at all the policies that you mentioned: vaccine mandates, socialism, the border, handing out billions and trillions of dollars to illegals, to student loan debt, you name it. That's absolutely the direction that the Democrats are going in. And again, let's just point to the facts. They stand for socialism. Some of them actually call themselves socialist Democrats now. And the Americans can see what their policies are for what they are. And I think you're going to have a big turnout here in November, because Americans don't support socialism. Americans don't support handouts. Americans support freedom and liberties, and that's what Republicans stand for. I think if we point to that, we'll be successful in November.
Well, Congressman, probably your most famous video, you pulled out the firearms. Do you have that Sig Sauer on your hip right now?
Not at the present moment, but I carry it everywhere I legally can.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping. Yeah, I'm thinking the way I can go viral is if a congressman pulls out a firearm on the air. So if I could, if it was handy, I would have asked you to show me, but you don't have to. And I'm glad that you carry wherever you can. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Meghan Markle.